Praises to the Most High Yah, honor unto his holy name, and honor unto the Ruach, which is wisdom. So family, what you see here is the topic of this video is the bride of Christ is not the church. So I just want to touch bases on this because I hear a lot of people, Christians and even our, the Israelites who have awakened, but still holding on to the storyline about Christ, church, and that he will be able to connect us back to the Father. I want to touch on that at a later time. And it might hit in this video, I'm not sure. But for those who have been following me for a bit, thank you for actually tuning in to these videos. I want to say that a lot of this is what I'm seeking the Most High about. And, what you can call that I'm on a journey. And like I said, you're welcome to leave me a message or email me at Yah Royal Family if you have something you would like to say or something you want to add. Because like I say, this is all, so many ways new to me. But, believing and trusting in the Most High that he's given me insights on different things that I could share. And even though a lot have not been to me fully revealed, so to say, I'm still, seeking and searching, I must say. I just ask you all to understand that and take it upon yourself that for what all reason, the Most High, I feel like is leading me and guiding me, even though he may not give me fullness of it yet, it will come. But then, like I said, it could be might be one that he already gave to, and this could be an open dialogue between me and you and others on this page. So again, thank you all for tuning in, subscribing to this platform. So again, I want to talk about this, and also there is, which is attached to this about being that we were in adultery and idolaters towards the Most High. So he divorced us, right? And I want to touch on that because often the way how it's connected is that we would need to go through Jesus Christ to be connected back to the Most High through a marriage. And by Jesus dying, that would made our marriage to the Most High null and void. And being that is null and void, then we could remarry the Most High again because Jesus Christ died. You understand? So I just see it differently. There's one question I've asked a sister to give me a scripture on to support, because when I'm reading and studying it, it's far from what, what she have explained and others have actually teached on. It's still like we wrap into this motion of what we've been taught. We stick to it. We don't even go searching or seeking for even further insight, because one lie leads to another lie. And then when you put truth in it, you're going to be at an area where it's going to become more and more balanced. And then if it contradicts anything, then you're going to question it. So that's where I'm at. I'm not sure where you all at. And like I said, I don't see people making comments on the page that much, or either even liking it. I'm not sure who's watching the video. I'm not sure if you're Israelites that you've awakened. I don't know, because the dialogue is not there. And you're welcome to comment, and you're welcome to share, because like I said, I don't know everything, and iron sharpen iron. And I just want to put this out there. But a lot that I see that the Old Testament has so much, pretty much, I want to say all in the New Testament is like it plagiarized and took from the Old Testament and then made another whole section. If we shave off the New Testament, we still can stand with the Old Testament and be just fine, because what Father said, how he has, centered around the Israelites, he meant that. And all this other stuff, it's just mass confusion in so many ways. And we know Father's not the author of confusion. So again, let's read this, and then I'll go from there, show you some more scriptures. So, okay. So many churches, they believe this. And it says, with the spirit of honest examination, the church has realized that they were not quite right. With that said, I believe it's time to take a closer look at the bride of Christ doctrine as well. Here are the reasons why. Revelation 21:9-10. One of the seven angels who had the seven bowls full of the seven plagues came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the bride, the wife of the Lamb." And he carried me away in the spirit to a mountain great and high, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of the heaven from God. So this is John, who, what I took that he was, having a dream. And then it appears as in that dream, a vision, he was caught up, where he was, where he speak of that he went in far as in the spirit. So with this being said, family, the bride of Christ is in the church. And as we read through the scriptures, it explains that it's being used as, a way to describe, a setting, like when being married and having weddings, and how that setting. And so a lot is circle around that, but somehow ones are stuck that they are the bride. One, particular person I just listened to recently, she was saying that, she had a vision that she was in a wedding dress and she was to marry the groom. But, a lot of people as single women, they look at that and say, well, I'm married to Jesus Christ. He's my husband, and so forth and so forth. You see, so, but a lot of it is like, one would say like a metaphor to what it really is. So let's continue. While there is a lamb wife, the bride, Christ, it is not the church. Revelation 21:9-10. It clearly states that the bride, the lamb's wife, is the holy Jerusalem coming down. Okay. Revelation 19:7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready. Revelation 19:7, as I just said earlier. So again, this Lamb's wife, the bride, Christ, cannot be referring to the church. If the church is the bride of Christ, then the Christian has to do something to get herself ready. This requires works to be done by a Christian to get ready. The word says that we are already made righteous and already sanctified. So then the Christ in God's eyes is already ready. So then the church in God's eyes is already ready. The bride of Christ has to be something else. If church were the bride, the Lamb's wife, then the angel in Revelation 21:9-10 will have shown the church, not the holy Jerusalem. Jesus did not teach that his body is also his bride. Paul didn't teach it either. Christians are repeatedly called son of God's, son of God, the body of Christ, and the church throughout the New Testament, but are never called the bride of Christ. Currently, the main teaching regarding the bride of Christ is that she is the church and must make herself ready. This teaching is inconsistent with the entire Pauline revelation of the gospel of grace. Because of the free gift of grace, we are already righteous and without spot nor blemish in the Lord's sight. We are already ready. Therefore, it stands to that reason church can't be the one getting herself ready. The bride of Christ then must refer to something or something else. The bride must refer not to the church, but to the Holy Jerusalem, just as the word of God says in Revelation. Well, we're going to just move from this right here because I say it's neither. It is what it says according to the vision. It's the New Jerusalem coming down. So let's go to some scriptures here. Because, this is a great tool, family. Get these different apps on your phone and you can plug in whatever word as a search and it's going to reveal where it is at and you can go read and study along the way, right? So I typed in bridegroom and I want to say it's going to come up shortly. And when you reading the scriptures, it tells you nothing leading in say you will be Christ's bride. It's nothing. It's all alluding to. Okay. So let's give this time to come up. Again, I pray all is well with each one of you. And it's taking, oh, wow. Okay. Okay, family. So Psalms 19:5, just listen to the verse, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber and rejoice as a strong man to run a race. It says as a bridegroom. It's using it as an example to describe. Let's go to Isaiah 61:10. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my Almighty, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with jewels. That's given a description of speaking of a bridegroom, not saying we will be a bridegroom. Isaiah 62:5. For as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee. And as the bridegroom rejoiceth over the bride, so shall God the Almighty rejoice over thee. It's just like saying as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, as in that, telling how the Almighty will react to us. Jeremiah 7:34. Then will I cause to cease from the cities of Judah and from the streets of Jerusalem the voice of mirth, the voice of gladness, the voice of bridegroom. I mean, someone who's excited, just like when you having a wedding, you are excited. And the voice of the bride, for the land shall be desolate. That's speaking of telling how, speaking how one would react or act in a matter, and you are excited. So Father, He's going to remove away that, all the happiness and all the excitement, because He's going to judge accordingly. Jeremiah 16:9. For thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will cause to cease out of this place in your eyes and in your days the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness and the voice of bridegroom and the voice of bride. Jeremiah 25:10. Moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, the voice of gladness, the voice of bridegroom, the voice of bride, and the sound of millstones and the light of the candle. So, family, we can go on and on, because it's not speaking as if Father saying that Jesus or our Messiah, so they say, will be our bridegroom, that He will connect us back 2, and then I will go further in detail about that. Let's just touch Joel 2:16. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. So one may say, well, that right there might be what he's speaking of, that, we're getting ready to have a wedding. But it's telling us, Joel 2, blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth out of the chamber and the bride out of the closet. Let the priests and the ministers of the Lord weep between the porches and the altars, and let them say, spare thy people. So it's still speaking of how a reaction of one will be towards a matter. Right? So let's go back. So Matthews 9:15. Now this changed up the whole dynamic. That's why I say, the Old Testament and the New Testament, it's friction there, family. If you have not came to a place to understand this, we must get here. And Jesus said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. So let me back up a bit. So this is basically talking about just using it as an explanation, explaining. It doesn't say anything about, marriage. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Let's go a little closer in this. And 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oils with them. But here we go. They're lining this up as though they're still preparing about a marriage between Jesus and the church, or either the bride, right? So let's go a little further down here and see if we see anything else pertaining to it. Because according to one of my findings, our family, it's not. We allude to different things because what we have been taught and told, and we're not really going deeper to see what this is all about. Let's go back out for a bit. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. So let's go in a little deeper, which was 25:5. And it says here, while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight, there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Okay. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. So this is a story that speaks of the bridegroom, speaks of going out to meet. But it's not talking about Jesus going to be our bridegroom and we will be his bride. It's still using it to describe and to explain, a situation, speaking of the 10 virgins, that key right there. 10 virgins, bridegroom, then it must be what it is, what it says. But that's not what it's speaking of. Let's go back a little bit further. Like I said, I was looking for anything else that I could actually use. So, and at midnight, there was a cry made, and I read that, 25:10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage. So let's go a little closer at this. So by the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us, and but go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourself. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. So saying he came, and those that were ready, who had all, who were wise, they got to go. but again, a metaphor or, explaining, but still yet people literally lining things up to say, this means I will marry him one day. He's going to marry a church. And that's not what it's saying. Let's go back one more. Let's see. Okay. So it goes to Mark and it says, and Jesus said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them? So again, alluding, but it's like it's setting it up. And I just want to say, family, this is not what it's saying. It's not laying it. It's more like teasing. It's more like flirtatious mode, kind of, with words to get someone, to buy into a moment. Okay. So it says, but the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days. And he said unto them, can we make the children of the bride chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them? Luke 5:35. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and they fast in those days. John 2:9. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine and knew not. Okay. Sorry, family, this update here coming through. And knew not. Okay, probably going to kick me all the way out. Okay, then. Okay, so John 2:9, and it says here, when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom. Okay. All right. He that had the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom which standeth and heareth him rejoice greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This my joy therefore is fulfilled. Revelation 18:23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more. Just speaking of brides and bridegrooms, ones who, get married in real time, right? Or a life that will not happen according to this prophecy. Baruch 2:23. I will cause to cease out of the city of Judah and from without Jerusalem the voice of mirth. So it's the same thing, speaking of he will remove all that from the forefront. Maccabees 1:27. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. Okay. Maccabees 9:39. Where they lift up their eyes and looked, and behold, there was much ado and great carriage. And the bridegroom came forth, and his friends and brethren to meet with him, an instrument of music and many weapons. So this Maccabee 9:39. And let's go before that. So therefore they remembered John their brother, and went up and hid themselves under the covert of the mountain. Okay. And so it just speaking of a moment that happened. Let's go up to 37. It says, after this came the word of Jonathan and Simon, his brother, that the children of Jambri made a great marriage, and were bringing the bride from Nadabatha with a great train, as being the daughter of one of the great prince of Canaan. Okay, so speaking of actually a wedding that happened there. So again, we speak of the bride. We speak of the bridegroom. And it's so important that we get a clear understanding. Because let me take you out. So let me go here. So the bride of Christ. And it says here, the bride of Christ, or the bride, the Lamb's wife, is a term used in reference to a group or related verses in the Bible, the Gospels, Revelation, and the epistles, and related verses in the Old Testament. Sometimes the bride is implied by calling Jesus a bridegroom. For over 1,500 years, the church was identified as a bride betrothed to Christ. However, there are instances of interpretation of the usage varying from church to church. So this is a lot that we already covered already in scriptures. So while we on this, we're just going to go on down to, I believe this is the area that it speaks of. We've covered that already. And so let's just touch on this. It says, comparing churches to a bride in Ephesians 5:22, Paul compares the union of a husband and wife to that of Christ and the church. The central theme of the whole Ephesians letter is reconciliation of alienated within the unity of church. Ephesians 5 begins by calling the Christians to intimidate God in Christ, who gave himself up for them with love. Okay. Ephesians 5:1 through 21st to the 21st verse contains rather a strong warning against foolishness and letting down one's guard against evil. Rather, the author encouraged the readers to constantly give thanks with songs and in their heart because of what God had done for all in Christ. Okay, let's go down a little bit further here. Okay. Okay. So I want to say that was it, right? So it says here in the writing to the church in Rome, Paul writes, "Wherefore, my brethren, ye also are become dead to the law by the body of Christ, that ye should be married to another, even to him also, to him who is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto the Almighty." So again, family, this all about a church marrying Jesus Christ, he's our groom, and you the bride, and so many people take that at heart. And when you understand the storyline about from the Old Testament about what this is about, that's why it's so important that we do the eschatology coming from a place of knowing that we're the Israelites. We can't use the same eschatology, the same lineup that these people use. We have to know that they never had our best interests. They did not include us in any of the end time prophecies as the biblical Israelites. You understand? So that's why it's just so important to go back to the drawing board. And I just feel like, I'm on a journey and I'm seeking and seeking, for more understanding. But there are ones who have taken the time to study the same, scriptures, of course. And I mean, the same type of what you would say, the end time prophecies, and they tweak it to whatever degree. But they still use these people who brought that to us. I just feel like we should come from a place of understanding that the Old Testament is actually, is provided and given to us. And the New Testament, they have taken scriptures out of it and add, to me, what they wanted to make it fit, whatever they wanted to fit them into the mix. I feel like without, if the Bible was, split and the New Testament was push aside, the Bible still can stand with the books from the Apocrypha and also the books of the Old Testament. Of course, I really believe that ones have our writings. We have more writings that we don't have access to. And that's a prayer that I'm praying that the Most High unveil and release those to us. But in what we do have, is a reason why he have not released and give it to us at this point. We need to, within this, we need to seek him for what we need to understand. So I'm not saying every letter, every word in the New Testament, something's wrong, but I can, from just looking at a lot of stuff like, when it gives the end prophecies, speaking of the horses, that is in the Old Testament in Zechariah 6, speak of the different color of the horses. When it speaks of, the beast, that's in Daniel, that's in different books, in the Old Testament, family. When it speaks of, far as when it comes down to, New Jerusalem and understanding, see, they wanted us to believe that heaven is, above, which I believe, but that we will all go up, and that, like, if the new kingdom, far as what it speaks in the New Testament about New Jerusalem coming down to earth, I truly want to say, family, that it will be like a shift. It will be as it was before. When we shift out of power, then our, ones who rule the earth now, our adversaries, our enemies, they got the power, and it shifted them. I feel like it will just be another shift. It will be a shift. So when it comes down to, certain like end time prophecies that had mentioned about, even coming down to the mark of the beast and all of this in reference to the, what you call, far as taking the mark of the beast, whether it be in your hand or your forehead, all of this, family, I truly believe that all of this was input. Where is that in the Old Testament? Where is it? I'm not saying that you to take it lightly. I'm just saying we need to go deeper. It's just so much more, but I want to say so much that we are putting the emphasis on is not even that, deep. Fathers, probably looking at us, I'm just saying, like, family, it's simple. Just seek me. Just read, just study to show yourself approved. Why we think that was put in the Bible? Study to show yourself approved. So about, us being, reconnected back to God, the Almighty Yah, is by Jesus dying, and by him dying that, far as take us out of the lineup of marriage to the Most High Yah, but people putting the Most High Yah as the man or woman on earth, like, he had to divorce us, by us divorces us. And that's another, subject. I have some scriptures that I won't cover with that also, but saying that he divorced us, and the only way that he will get back with us is his son had to die, a human being. Family, I just see it, differently from my understanding from the scriptures. It's just not adding up. And when I covered this with a sister of mine, she was sharing some insights. I was like, give me a scripture that says, that in this, which Paul said that it will annul, but it will void, but by someone dying for us to be able to reconnect, but all in the scriptures that Father said he come back to redeem us. None of that is said in any of those scriptures in the Old Testament. I truly believe that this whole purpose of bringing this second part of the book in was to, confuse the masses, to confuse the people when they wake up to the truth. It went all the way back to the Flavians. It took a legs of its own. I shared about, Jesus, the son of Soadek, and Joshua, the son of Soadek, which was really, they're the same people. They're the same person. I want to say same people, the same person. Father Crown said to crown him, and he would sit on the throne as a priest and also like a king. But did they put that in there in the Old Testament just for us to give, leadway to where Jesus Christ can be in the order of Melchizedek? It's the same thing. When you go back and read about that, you say, well, wait a minute, this ain't adding up either. That's not adding up. The order of. This person came out of the Clear Blue one day, showed up, and someone said, oh, he gave tithes to, Abraham gave tithes to him because he was a high priest. Of who? When it wasn't even in place yet. It didn't become far as a high priest until, Aaron. So who's this Melchizedek? Who is this? And then when you go study it, he is of another whole God, not the Almighty Yah. He is a high priest of somebody else. Sadek. Another whole God, not even talking about the Most High Yah. So that's why I say, family, we must go deeper. We must go deeper. And I don't want to lead nobody down the wrong road. You got, I say you got choices. Hey, I'm not trying to come on here and get the most people, try to be friend with everybody, trying to get no clicks, know this and know that. I'm not doing none of that. My whole purpose of waking up every morning is to serve the Most High and to seek his face and get some clarity and understanding. And there's a reason why he have not laid it all out to us yet. I believe that he does things in his timing and in measures. He know exactly how to fit it. Of course he does. So I don't know if some of you have thought about this as well, or some of you, have been watching the videos and say, yeah, well, I can see from that angle too. I don't want you just to see from the angle. I need you to go deeper yourself. And like I said, we can have a dialogue. We could actually, talk more in depth about it. You can send me an email. If you don't want to make a comment, family, I'm open. Anything I'm wrong for, anything I'm wrong, I'll come back on and apologize and repent. But I don't want to serve nobody else's God. I don't want to serve nobody else's God. I do not want to serve nobody else God but the Most High Yah. And as I see it, family, our majority of our people are still in idolatry. They just it's like a switch have not went on to say, okay, well, you know what? If we got rid of the picture of what we call Jesus Christ and made him black, then where is our Messiah? Where is the write-up about our Messiah? Where is that write-up at? Just like the man, which was called Jesus. How many Jesus is this? Jesus of Neve, Jesus of Jesus, what is called Jesus ben Ananus. He was one that fit in that storyline that remind you of Jesus of Nazareth. They had a lot of different people called Jesus. Did you have Jesus of Sirach? Yeah, it's so many different. And some people believe that people, they pull from it. And it's been shown that, the Gospels was written and added in there. So that would make it Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and was a fifth one, the Wars of the Jews, I want to say, which in anything that comes from Josephus, like how could he give an account for Jesus? And he born 3 to 4 years after Jesus Christ died. But he is a historian, so they say. And these, our enemies, they gravitate to him. They suck it up, they eat it up because family. So anything they run into and gravitate into, we need to run the opposite way. So that's why I'm challenging my Hebrew brothers, redo the eschatology, brothers and sisters. Redo it. Redo it. I don't consider myself a scholar. I just see a lot of you who have a lot of expertise in this, hey, if just imagine if we come together on it, are ones who come to a place, because when that switch, I believe that switch, that light bulb or whatever goes off, you begin to see that how can we trust these people with the same storyline that we've been having coming in the coming in the New Testament. And the only reason why I truly believe our brothers and sisters go back to and say, oh, well, this is the same, is because a lot of the scriptures are in the New Testament from the Old Testament. But if they have writings, they can do whatever they want. You understand? They can add in and make it sound just as pretty as they want to be. If they got our writings, and it said that Josephus had our writings. He went aside with the Flavians and became one of them. So, hey. But when I feel that light switch goes off, because right then we should have seen, once we knew that this book was really about a victor, ones who conquered us, and they took our writings, the ones that conquered us, is still ruling today over 2,000 years later. The same people, Edom and also Rome, they became one, the same people. And we taking it like, oh no, we good. We'll just change the picture back. He was black before, so they say. In that time and year, he was black. So they say. Then they made him white, and then they made him black again. And you kept all the scriptures and the writings along with it. But the question mark is, I know. Well, the point of the matter is, I know that we had a Messiah in each captivity, either one or maybe several. It will, when you look at Moses and Aaron, Father anoint them, right? You look at Cyrus the king, Father anoint them, right? Anoint Cyrus the king, right? He was considered a Messiah, just like anyone who's anointed, who came. And like I told someone yesterday in the video, I said, you know what? Father can anoint me and send me up to Trump. Because, for the plagues to be already, what we see, the coronavirus and the locusts and different things that we see, and it's been going on any time, as far as the locusts and stuff, that all of this was plagues all this time. Even when the caterpillars used to come out every 7 years at where I used to live, all this time, these were plagues. We didn't know that. I didn't know it. But these were plagues. So, and for it to get this intensified, and then Father coming, and I had a visitation. I call it a visitation. When he spoke, yesterday I had one. I was slain in the spirit right on Facebook. I was slain in the spirit, fam. I could barely talk. I didn't even lift up my hands. I was slain in the spirit, right? And then when I heard his voice, and then, asked me the question about where slavery came from, guess what? That was a visitation. So now, when we think back about Moses, right? With Moses, think back. When Moses went to Pharaoh, said, let my people go, I remember one had came up to Moses and said, man, you're making it worse for us. They were out still, doing heavy work because Pharaoh wasn't taking heed, but Father had hardened Pharaoh's heart. So right now with that lawsuit in the White House, who's to say that is not the door that Father sent someone, which Prince Michael, to give Trump that documents to, in so many ways, let my people go. It's time to go. It's time to let them go. Because when you think about it, why would the plagues and stuff be already out if no one ain't spoke up for us yet? But see, what we so, mesmerized by, I ain't saying we, but hey, some of us, the mass of us, we waiting on Jesus Christ. We waiting for Jesus Christ. That's what everybody, if it's not Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Yahushua, that's what we waiting on. Oh, we waiting for him. That's the same thing that they've been saying and our enemies been talking about. And here we are, the chosen people, and we don't want to redo our eschatology to see really how this going to really play out for us. Come on, family. I'm just saying, family, blessings to each one of you. The Almighty know I love you all. I pray for you all. I pray. And I just, I just want to say, I'm just doing the best that I know, that what I feel led to do. I just feel like there's some people more equipped. And one day I just pray that the Almighty, and I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. Because in a lot of cases, sometimes it comes back to me, and it surface sometimes. Do you have it right? Maybe they got it all right and you got it wrong. Well, and then it hits me back so quickly. Nope. Because, so much stuff, it doesn't add up. Like, I have always been a person that 1 + 1 has to add up to 2. It has to make sense. It has to, because see, most people, I've heard and seen people say, oh, well, I've seen that movie about the Caesar Messiah and, this, and then they just went on with their life. They did not even try to come back and look at it from a different angle with their followers, right? In so many ways. And for whatever reason, it could be that it could come back at a later date. But the way how I feel, that I was led to come across to you all to show you things and get you to see it. And then maybe, you have actually already knew, or you at a place to say, I need to seek the Most High. And that's what my whole point of the matter is for you, each person, to seek the Most High for themselves, and for you to, like I say, iron sharpen irons. And when this all play out and lay out, and we see that, we got it wrong, had it wrong, family, I don't know how the Most High is going to do it, but I truly believe, within myself that I'm still seeking and searching, but we must go deeper. We must go deeper, and we must, do the eschatology and seek him from that place, not seek him and wait. And we just sit and we settle. We just good. We just waiting for Jesus Christ. We just waiting for the sky to pop open, right? I just think it's more, because when you look at, for Joshua, like I said, I was saying that I didn't know if there was another Messiah, but they lined Joshua, the son of Zodak, as the Messiah, that he sat on the throne. But did he die for us? Because the time that Joshua, even if you call his name Yeshua, Yeshua, which that's what they say, and they say, oh, it's Jesus Christ. But anyway, Jesus Christ wasn't born until 4 or 5 BC, and Joshua, of the son of Joazak, I want to say Joazak, I probably got it wrong, family. He was born 500 years before that. That was doing that. When I say 500 years, that was 500 years before. That's when they were in Babylon. So that can't be the same person. It just can't. So again, family, let's go deeper. Blessings to each one of you. Praises to the Most High Yah. I'm open. You're welcome to send me any correspondence. YahRoyalFamily@gmail.com. I'll make a comment. Shalom.